In the neon-soaked megacity of Neo-Shanghai, former assassin Marcus Rever has lived quietly for years, tending to a secret garden of rare earth plants. But when a team of alien enforcers destroys his home and poisons him with a lethal storin neurotoxin, something impossible happens. Instead of dying, Marcus's human biology reacts in a way no one predicted, turning the poison into an enhancement that pushes his reflexes and mind beyond natural limits. With only 72 hours to live before his altered body burns itself out, Marcus launches a desperate mission. To survive, he must break into the most dangerous part of the city, confront his powerful alien ex-brother-in-law, and uncover why his former wife, a high-ranking alien noble, has summoned him after years apart. The stakes are life, death, and something far bigger, the truth about what he's becoming. Rain hammered the windows of Marcus Rever's tiny apartment, each drop catching the glow of neon signs that climbed the towers of Neo-Shanghai. From his seat by the window, Marcus watched the city breathe, endless light and motion, a constant electric heartbeat. 40 stories down, puddles reflected a riot of colors, broken by the occasional hover car passing overhead. The smell of broth and spice drifted through the vents. The ramen shop downstairs was one of the last places in the district still cooking real food. It was comfort. Something human. Marcus turned from the window to his hydroponic setup, the only soft thing in his life. Nightshade, foxglove, white snakeroot, all deadly, all rare since the resource wars. His mother had grown them once. Now, he did, too. A living memory. He trimmed a leaf with the precision of a surgeon, his strong hands steady despite the years. At 45, Marcus was fit without the chrome and augments most humans wore to keep up with alien physiology. His skin was bare of circuitry. His muscles were earned the old way. On the nightstand, a holographic photo flickered. A woman with purple skin and faintly glowing markings looked back at him. Taria No. His wife, once. Her features were alien, beautiful, high cheekbones, eyes that shifted color with the light, markings that pulsed like living constellations. He pushed the thought away and went about his routine. Shower. Dress. Black coffee. 20 minutes of calisthenics. Predictable. Controlled. Hand me the pulse wrench, Marcus said hours later, crouched over the engine of a hydrogen-converted Ferrari. Hiroto, the shop's elderly owner, passed it to him. You've recalibrated that converter 4 times this month, the old man said. The client wants original parts, Marcus replied without looking up. You replace one, you replace them all. A man in a tailored suit watched from across the garage, silver augment circuits tracing under his skin. You smell like one of them ghost knives from the war, the man said. What mods you run, man? Hiroto's tone hardened. Mr. Rever is an excellent mechanic. His enhancements are none of your concern. Marcus ignored them both, but the man's words pulled at memories, other tools, other jobs. Organs replaced with slow precision. Weapons that left no trace. In another life, they had called him the mechanic, the man who could take apart anything, or anyone. By the time his shift ended, the sky was a smear of neon and rain. Marcus stopped at the Rusted Nail, a dive tucked in the city's mid-levels. Keela Toombs, the bartender, slid him a glass of bourbon without asking. She was all scars and cybernetics, but honest in a way Marcus respected. Business was slow. Conversation was slower. Then the door hissed open and 5 Storin enforcers stepped in, obsidian suits, skin in shades of violet, markings glowing with threat. They roughed up a Proximan, shook down a few others, and left. One, young and cocky, kept glancing Marcus's way. When they were gone, Keela muttered, on the house. Marcus nodded. See you tomorrow. Try not to kill anyone on the way home, she said with a half-smile. It almost felt like a warning. The door to his apartment was ajar. His security lock, bypassed. Marcus's hand slid to the ceramic blade in his boot as he stepped inside. The earthy scent of his plants was gone, replaced by something sharp, electric, storing pheromones. The place was wrecked. Soil and nutrient fluid spilled across the floor. Every plant destroyed. Furniture overturned. Not a robbery, a message. In the center of the destruction, a small hollow projector hummed. Marcus activated it. Terria's brother, Doran, appeared, older now, but still smug. "Hello, brother-in-law," Doran said. "If you're still alive, Teria wants to see you one last time. She's waiting at the obsidian tower. Come alone. Or don't come at all." The hologram died. Marcus stood still for a long moment. He hadn't seen Teria in 5 years, not since the day she told him to leave. And yet. He went to the hidden panel under his bed and pulled out a metal case. Inside, a pulse pistol with an untraceable signature, blades for every species' defenses, and a leather jacket stained with old blood. He was shrugging into it when he heard the faintest shift of air from the bathroom. He spun, too late. A cloaked figure stepped out, camouflage flickering off to reveal a Storan assassin. A hiss of compressed air, and a dart slammed into Marcus's neck. Pain bloomed instantly. Storan neurotoxin, designed to fry nerves until the body shut down. Humans were supposed to die in seconds. Marcus didn't. His heart pounded like a war drum. Every nerve burned raw, but the world slowed around him. The rain outside became suspended droplets. He moved faster, sharper. He tackled the assassin into the wall, blade sliding between alien ribs. Purple blood sprayed hot across his hand. The assassin's glowing markings flickered with shock and respect, before going dark. Marcus staggered, the poison racing through him. Instead of killing him, it was changing him. Marcus's vision pulsed at the edges as he yanked the dart free. The fluid coating its tip shimmered faint purple in the dim light, pure Storan neurotoxin. Enough to kill a normal human in 3 seconds. Enough to kill him, if the universe still followed the rules he knew. But it wasn't killing him. It was doing something else. The burning spread like a tide through his veins. Every nerve lit up, and suddenly the air seemed thick with detail. He could hear the rain striking the balcony rail outside, each droplet distinct. He could smell the ozone from the dart's pneumatic discharge. His body was running too hot. Too fast. It wouldn't last. He needed answers. And only one person in Neo-Shanghai could give them. Dr. Lian's clinic was buried under a derelict high-rise in Sector 13, far from the clean, corporate zones. The place was a hybrid of cybernetics workshop and black market medbay, where you could get a limb replaced and a tracking chip erased in the same visit. Lian took one look at him and scowled. "You look like hell, Rever. I need an analysis." He explained about the dart, the toxin, and what he'd felt since. Her brows rose as she scanned him, mechanical armatures extending from her shoulders to manipulate tools with perfect steadiness. "Fascinating. The toxin's chemistry is rewriting your nervous system instead of frying it. Your neural transmission speed is triple normal. You're thinking and reacting faster than any human should. Can you fix it?" She shook her head. "It's irreversible. And it's burning you out. Your metabolism's running at an unsustainable rate. 72 hours, give or take, before total system collapse. I need the antidote. That's not something you can buy. Storan families synthesize each batch for specific victims. The only source would be the Nor family vaults." Marcus thought of Doran's message. Of Teria. "Then I need to get into the vaults." Lian gave him a look that mixed respect and pity. "Do it fast. You're already dying." The Storan district was a riot of color and movement. Buildings were grown, not built, organic curves, bioluminescent veins glowing in patterns that shifted like breathing. The air buzzed with alien pheromones. At the district's heart, a pharmaceutical research center loomed, its public face hiding one of the largest illicit drug operations in the galaxy. Marcus moved through the shadows. With every step, his altered senses painted the world in high definition. Guard patrols looked sluggish. Cameras tracked too slowly. He slipped inside, bypassed 3 security doors, and ghosted through the main floor where dozens of alien chemists worked in vats of glowing fluid. In a side lab, he found his target, a senior chemist named Marl. Alone. Marcus shut the door and locked it with a stolen access card. Marl's markings pulsed in alarm. Who? Marcus's blade pinned the alien's hand to the table. Not deep enough to kill. Enough to make a point. The toxin you used on me, where's the antidote? You should be dead, Marl hissed. Disappointing, isn't it? Marcus tightened the grip. Where? Only the family keeps it. In the obsidian tower. Top floor. And Taria? She's there. Dying. Genetic degradation. Doran's moving to take control before she's gone. An alarm shrieked through the building. On the monitors, security converged on their location. The door blew inward. A plasma bolt tore through Marcus's left arm, burning flesh to the bone. He staggered back, pain screaming through every nerve, amplified by the very enhancements keeping him alive. He grabbed a chemical canister, yanked the pin, and threw it. The explosion shattered the lab's far wall, giving him a path into the maintenance shafts. By the time Marcus stumbled into the rusted nail, the necrosis had already spread to his shoulder. Keela took one look and started prepping surgical tools. This arm's gone. The toxin's using the wound to spread faster. I've got to cut it off now. Do it. She hit him with an anesthetic. His altered metabolism burned it away in seconds. He stayed conscious for every slice, every snap of tendon. The pain was endless, stretched by his warped sense of time until each second felt like an hour. When it was over, she rolled a heavy case onto the table. Been saving this. Military-grade prosthetic. Black market. No serials. Neural interface. Full tactile feedback. And a few extras. Why give it to me? Marcus asked as she fitted it to the charred stump. Because war's never over for people like us. The interface linked. The arm responded instantly, every finger moving as naturally as his own. Marcus flexed it, the matte black surface catching the light. Better than new. Good, Keela said. Because I know where Doran is, running a new club in the district. The Penumbra. And it's not the kind of place you walk into unprepared. Sounds perfect. The Penumbra was built inside the hollowed shell of an old orbital shuttle, stacked 12 levels high. Each floor catered to a different vice, human or alien. Marcus bypassed the main entrance, climbing service ladders until he reached Doran's private level. 2 elite Storan guards stood outside. They went down in seconds, one's windpipe crushed, the other's skull shattered by the new arm's force. Inside, Doran lounged with companions. They scattered at Marcus's command. He was across the room before Doran could draw his weapon, cybernetic fingers tightening around the alien's throat. The hit, Marcus said flatly. Doran's markings flickered in pain. Not her. She doesn't know. She's dying. Changed her will. Gave everything to you. I had to stop it. Where's the antidote? Her physician has it. In the medical suite, 1 floor below the penthouse. Doran's eyes shifted past Marcus. His instincts screamed a fraction of a second before the hidden door opened and 6 guards poured in, weapons hot. Plasma fire lit the room. Marcus moved through it like water, the black arm tearing through armor, sending bodies flying. But the numbers pressed him, bolts grazing his side and thigh. Doran slipped away in the chaos, the hidden exit sealing behind him. Marcus fought on until the last guard fell. He was bleeding badly now, but the path to the obsidian tower was clear. Time was running out. The obsidian tower loomed over Neo-Shanghai like a black monolith. 200 stories of glass and living Storan architecture pulsed faintly with alien biolight, its core humming with enough security to protect a planetary governor. Marcus approached on a stolen hyperbike, the wind tearing at his jacket. His breathing was shallow. The wounds from the penumbra burned with a steady, electric pain. The toxin, though slowed by sheer will, was eating away at him. Vision blurred, then sharpened again as his altered nervous system fought itself. He ditched the bike 2 blocks out and slipped into the maintenance tunnels under the business district. The old infrastructure still ran beneath the city like a forgotten skeleton, unmonitored, unclaimed. He moved fast, following memory and instinct until he reached a service door at the tower's base. 2 guards stood watch. He didn't slow. The first never saw the ceramic blade slide between his ribs. The second's neck broke under the cybernetic hand's grip. Inside, the tower's layered defenses began immediately. Cameras. Motion sensors. Thermal scanners. Marcus navigated each with machine-like precision, slipping between blind spots, timing patrols, disabling what he couldn't avoid. Lower floors were easy. Mid-levels added biometric locks, drone patrols, and pheromone detectors keyed to authorized Storan staff. He mimicked the scent signature of a guard he'd taken out, bypassing 3 checkpoints in under 5 minutes. But the upper levels. Here, the tower deployed quantum-linked alarms and AI-driven predictive security, systems that could guess an intruder's next move before they made it. Marcus's enhanced perception let him play a dangerous game of mental chess with the AI, making feints, doubling back, forcing its probability models into error. By the 150th floor, his body was screaming for rest. Dark lines spiderwebbed under his skin, ruptured vessels marking the toxin's progress. His vision narrowed into a tunnel. The cybernetic arm, however, seemed to be learning. It anticipated his movements, sometimes reacting faster than he could think, catching a plasma shot on instinct, adjusting his balance mid-step. The integration was deeper now. Symbiotic. On the 175th floor, an elite Storan strike team blocked the corridor, matte black armor, neurally linked plasma rifles. Extinction specialists. There he is, the leader said, markings pulsing with excitement. Marcus dove behind a pillar as plasma fire scorched the air. The reinforced carbon steel groaned under the assault. It would last maybe 3 more hits. He counted the cadence of their fire. 7 seconds before the reload cycle. On 4, he ripped a floor vent loose with the cybernetic arm and hurled it. The edge slammed into one elite's throat, collapsing his airway. On reload, Marcus moved. He blurred across the space, crushing the rifle of a second elite in his grip, forcing a plasma backflow that cooked the alien inside his armor. Another fired point blank. Marcus twisted, letting the bolt sizzle past his ribs before driving his knee into the elite's chest and the arm into his helmet. Bone, metal, and glass shattered together. When it was over, the corridor smelled of scorched armor and blood. Marcus was barely standing, but the path was open. The 190th floor housed the tower's security control hub. Marcus didn't sneak in, he broke it. The first guard's skull cracked against the console. The second went down under a plasma bolt deflected by the arm's reinforced plating. Marcus took the controls and dumped every lock on the medical level and the penthouse. It bought him maybe 3 minutes. Enough. Outside, a new squad of 4 elites intercepted him, faster than the last group, their weapons upgraded. Time slowed. He could see the faint tremor in one's trigger finger, the half-breath before another shifted his weight to fire. He mapped their positions, saw every possible outcome in a web of motion lines, and chose the path with the highest probability of survival. He killed them all in 22 seconds. By the time Marcus hit the emergency stairwell to the 199th floor, his body was shutting down. Blood streamed from his nose and ears. His heart felt like it was trying to pound its way out of his chest. The quantum lock on the stairwell door read his cybernetic arm's touch and yielded, almost like it wanted him to keep going. The medical suite was cold and bright. Dr. Malin, a white-marked Storan physician, froze at the sight of him, half-drenched in blood, moving like something that wasn't entirely human anymore. "The antidote," Marcus rasped. "You're the human who married Lady Teria," the doctor said slowly. Marcus dropped to one knee, catching himself on the arm before he collapsed entirely. "Antidote. Now." Malin hesitated only a moment before retrieving a small, chilled vial. Blue, iridescent liquid swirled inside. "It will neutralize the toxin, but the damage done, that will remain." Marcus nodded. The injector hissed against his neck. Cold fire spread through his veins, pushing back the burn. The relief was almost painful. "She's above," Malin said. "Penthouse. She has very little time." The penthouse was not what Marcus expected. No luxury. No opulence. Just a medical facility with panoramic windows showing the city below. In the center lay Teria No, her once vibrant skin faded to lavender, markings flickering like dying embers. Yet her eyes were sharp, pulling him in like they had years ago. "You came," she whispered. "Your brother tried to kill me," Marcus said. Her mouth curved in something that might have been a smile. "Doran was always ambitious. I sent for you to warn you, and to say goodbye." She nodded toward a data chip on the side table. "My will. Everything legitimate goes to you. And evidence enough to have Doran executed." Marcus shook his head. "Why me?" "The toxin changed you," she said. "Our scientists always wondered if human biology might react differently. My brother didn't know he was giving you a gift." Before Marcus could answer, the penthouse doors slid open. Doran stepped in with 4 guards, weapons raised. "How touching," Doran said, his markings pulsing in smug, predatory rhythm. The lovers reunited. "Shame it won't last." His guards spread into firing positions, plasma rifles humming with charge. Teria's gaze sharpened. "Doran, stop this. I've already transmitted every piece of evidence against you to the High Council and Earth authorities." "Doesn't matter," Doran sneered. "Once you're both dead, I'll have time to rewrite the narrative." Her frail hand slid to a hidden panel beside her bed. "Activate Protocol Omega." Ceiling panels split open. Defense turrets descended and whirred to life, but instead of targeting Marcus, they rotated toward Doran and his guards. The first 2 fell instantly, their armor sparking under precision shots. The others returned fire, shattering turrets in bursts of plasma. Chaos erupted. Marcus was already moving, the world slowing to a crawl as his toxin-enhanced nervous system burned with one final surge of speed. He saw the arc of every plasma bolt, each particle of energy stretched across his perception. He cut left, sliding between 2 guards, the cybernetic arm smashing into the first's helmet with such force the metal caved inward. He wrenched the second's rifle away, turning it back on him and firing point blank. Doran's markings flared with alarm. He fired at Marcus, shots wild. One struck the edge of Teria's life support unit, sending sparks across the bed. Another bolt hit her. Marcus saw it all in impossible clarity, the way her body jolted, the brief flare in her markings, then the dimming as her breath left her. Something inside him cracked. Pain vanished. Thought dissolved into pure intent. The toxin and antidote fused into a final, overwhelming rush, every nerve screaming in unison. Doran raised his weapon. He never finished the motion. Marcus crossed the space in a blur, the cybernetic hand locking around Doran's throat with surgical precision. With his free hand, he stripped the weapon away and tossed it aside. "You should have left her alone," Marcus said, voice low, flat. Doran's markings flashed in fear, defiance, and something almost like regret. "She chose wrong." Marcus squeezed just enough to cut off his air. The universe doesn't recognize mercy as a force, he said, repeating Terria's favorite line. Neither do I. What followed was methodical. Deliberate. Marcus worked like the assassin he once was, dismantling Doran the way a mechanic dismantles a machine. Piece by piece. Carefully enough to keep him alive for most of it. The last thing Doran saw was Marcus's face, calm as if tightening a final bolt. When it was over, the room smelled of scorched metal and alien blood. Terria's body lay still, her markings extinguished. Marcus stood beside her, the cybernetic arm slick with purple. He reached out with his human hand, brushing his fingers over hers. Cold already. He took the data chip from the table and slipped it into his jacket. Whatever else happened, her plan would be carried out. Doran's network would be dismantled, the evidence delivered. The tower's alarms began to rise, not the targeted alerts from before, but full evacuation sirens. Automated voices in both Storan and English ordered all occupants to clear the upper levels. Marcus didn't rush. He was past rushing now. His body was burning out, but the job was done. He left the penthouse through a service corridor, bypassing responding security teams who had no idea what had happened upstairs. He took a freight elevator down to the 80th floor before stepping off into the shadows and vanishing from their sweep. By the time the Obsidian Tower's forces secured the upper levels, Marcus was gone. 3 months later, the Rusted Nail was back to its usual hum, low music, dim lights, the quiet murmur of conversation. Keela was behind the bar polishing a glass when Marcus walked in. He looked different. The dark lines under his skin had faded. His eyes still carried the hyperfocus, but his movements were slower, controlled. The cybernetic arm had been modified, its matte black surface now traced with faint silver lines in a pattern reminiscent of Storan markings. Keela poured him a bourbon without asking. "Business picking up?" she asked. Marcus nodded. "Medical center opens next month. Specializing in genetic conditions like hers. That her legacy? And the other businesses? The shady ones? Dismantled. Or made clean?" Keela smirked. "The mechanic retires again?" "For good," Marcus said. They drank in companionable silence until a shadow fell over the bar. A young Storan stood there, markings bright with youth and arrogance. "Mr. Rever," he said respectfully. "My employers believe a man with your skills could be very valuable to us. The work would be lucrative. I'm retired." The Storan's markings shifted to mild threat. "Perhaps you misunderstand. My employers aren't people you refuse. Your peace here depends on," to the rest of the bar, Marcus barely moved. In reality, his cybernetic hand had pinned the alien's palm to the counter with a chopstick driven cleanly between the bones. The Storan froze, markings flaring in pain and disbelief. "The mechanic is retired," Marcus said quietly. "That means no negotiations. No threats. No opportunities. Spread the word." He twisted the chopstick, earning a sharp gasp, then pulled it free and dropped a heavy credit chip on the counter. "For the damage," he told Keela. The young Storan clutched his hand and bolted for the door. "Some things never change," Keela said, pocketing the chip. "Some do," Marcus replied. Outside, rain streaked down in silver lines through the neon glow. The city pulsed with the same endless rhythm. Marcus walked through it, the world sharp and alive around him. The toxin had tried to kill him. Instead, it had rebuilt him. Not fully human. Not fully alien. Something else entirely. Teria had called it a gift. Marcus still wasn't sure. But he knew one thing: the universe rewarded those who adapted, even if it had to break them first. And Marcus Rever had adapted.